Let's talk about biblical translation and why this guy gets it so wrong.
Hebrew are saying something different than the King James. I don't speak Greek and Hebrew enough to know which one to refer you to. I just know yours can't be right if it's different than a perfect translation.
Hi, I'm Robin Whittaker, a biblical scholar and public theologian. Now, what this guy gets right is that the Older Testament or Hebrew Bible was written in Hebrew and the New Testament written in Greek. We also have a Greek translation of the Older Testament called the Septuagint, and we think that probably most of the writers of the New Testament were referencing or using that when they talked about the scripture says, because we can see linguistic overlaps. Now, he talks about a perfect translation, and there is no such thing for a couple of reasons. The King James Version, if we use that as an example, was done at the instigation of King James of England in the 17th century. It was for a while the official Bible of the Church of England, and it was based on the best manuscripts at the time. But since the 17th century, we've found hundreds more Greek and Hebrew manuscripts from the ancient world. And this is what happens when we do biblical translation. It starts with text-critical work of looking at the thousands of manuscripts and fragments we have and piecing together what is likely the most authentic or the dominant tradition of text, knowing that these texts were copied by hand, which means errors entered them and passed around, and some only exist in partial form. The second thing to note is that all translation is already an act of interpretation. Any of you that speak more than one language know that when we go from one language to another, we have to make a set of choices about which particular word we could use. Some languages don't have obvious matching words because our language carries our cultural nuances within it, and there's not always a one-for-one correlation. So any English or other language translation of the Bible is going to carry those human decisions and human acts of interpretations within it. If you really want to get close to the ancient text, the best thing you can do is actually learn Greek and Hebrew. I talk about this a lot more in my book, Even the Devil Quotes Scripture. Shameless plug. Thanks for listening.